We're doing
You know,
part
How long did you know this?
what the condition, that doesn't happen in 3 days. It doesn't happen in 4 days.
I think I just deluded myself. I just didn't want to believe it.
So when did you delude yourself? When did you start? When did this condition start?
I think within a month it started to become, I was a bit up and down. Her cheeks would be full and bright, and then a couple days later she would look ill or hungry, and then, or not hungry, just her cheeks wouldn't be as full as they were.
Shrunken then?
Yeah, and then...
So when did you notice that she had other bones showing?
About a month.
About a month ago.
Let me ask you this. When was the last time you bathed her?
Maybe 2 weeks ago.
Oh my God.
So about a month ago, you notice that her bones are all showing, right? And so...
How shocking is that like she actually probably gave an honest answer in that scenario? I don't know, like 2 weeks ago, I cleaned my 10-month-old. 2 weeks ago? Are you for real? Most people clean their kids every single day. Sister. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Is that when you started happily praying?
No, it was the past few days, because about a month ago it would be like full, and then 2 days later it would be shrunken in, but then within the day it'd be full again. But then the past few days it wouldn't fill up as quickly as it did.
What?
No, listen, here's what I'm saying, Mary. Listen, I get that, but her legs were as small as my pointer finger. So that didn't happen in 3 days.
No.
And I know that you know that. And I know that you wanted to get her help. But I'm trying to just figure out, when did this happen? I understand that maybe you started seeing some kind of symptoms a month ago. But when did she consistently lose all of this weight? When did she consistently become skin and bones?
I think it was within the month. She was always just so thin, and
so within a month.
That's not so thin. That is not normal. That's not so thin. You weren't cleaning the girl. You weren't feeding the girl. And I hope to God they don't show us pictures of this shit. I don't think they're going to, because when I was covering the video of the Parkland shooter, they actually put a discretion warning on that one. Discretion advised warning. So I'm assuming, but I cannot guarantee, you guys. I have no idea if they're actually going to show us pictures, but the description of how they're describing the condition of this child, I think would be very difficult for any of us to actually see pictures of what she did to her kid. And listen to her and her breathy voice. I don't know. I loved her so much, but I never bathed her. I didn't feed her all that much, and she wasn't having any bowel movements, really.
So then why, when we had a month to look at her like this, why didn't we get help?
We thought she'd get better without getting help.
How did you think she was going to get better?
By feeding her and being with her.
Was she really truly eating the way that you were telling us?
Yes,
because if you want, he has a photo of her, and if you want to see it, I mean, I'm pretty sure that I explained this to both you and Seth when you were in my car with me. There's going to be an autopsy done, okay? And there was a person from the medical examiner's office at the house, okay?
So we're gonna know all this, what we're saying.
Yeah.
But, and you're not a bad person. We get all this, and we get that there's a dynamic here that we're trying to figure out. There is a dynamic here. I'm gonna tell you, I know it. I I know there's a dynamic, and I feel that you wanted to get her help. I'm trying to just figure out why you didn't. What's the dynamic? What am I missing? Because you can't tell me that this Brooklyn, New York, this New York college, city college educated, Grand Rapids Community College, early childhood person didn't know that this girl needed help, but something stopped her.
Once again, the police are pushing Tatiana to change her story, this time by implying that she was stopped from helping Mary by her husband. They, of course, do not believe that. Tatiana, by her own admission, was the primary caregiver. She was the one in charge of the feeding, and she spent a significant amount of time with the kids, alone. But getting Tatiana to change her story would again harm her credibility and would get them closer to the truth.
I just am trying to figure out what it is. What stood between you and help?
I think that I was worried about another CPS call from the doctors, and I thought that Mary would get better and it would be okay.
But at what point did you get better?
About 2 days ago. 3 days ago. 2 days.
So 2-3 days ago, you thought she wasn't going to get better. So then why didn't we call then? What?
Because I thought that I was being doubtful, and
You thought you were being doubtful of Christ?
yes.
That's
I
bullshit.
thought I was.
That is some goddamn bullshit. And even if she didn't think she needed to call 911, she could have put that child in her car seat and driven her to an urgent care, at which point they would have transferred her to the ER because of her condition was so severe. But even if she's like, I don't know, she doesn't look well, that at least would have been one step towards, I'm concerned about my child. But she showed absolutely no fucking concern for her child. The last time I bathed her was 2 weeks ago? Are you for fucking real? I don't know a single parent that doesn't clean their children every single day. It's bath time, kids. You just had dinner, right? Now it's time to have your bath and tuck into bed. Not this bitch. Nope, nope, nope. Oh my God. Like I said, this is one of the reasons that none of you bitches should be against reproductive rights. Because people like her should not be having children. She should be wearing condoms. She should be on birth control. And she should have abortions if she gets pregnant. Because this bitch is going to kill little kids.
Lessening in my faith, and I just...
My faith. Oh my God.
Is that what Seth thought, Joe?
that I was being doubtful.
No, I want to know out of you two, which one of you wanted to go to take her to the doctor?
Neither of them.
I know he didn't, and I didn't for a long time, and until recently it just became a little thought in my head that maybe we should, and then I was worried about CPS and about just losing faith. We've had issues with CPS before, and I just didn't want to lose the kid.
So you thought you were losing faith by thinking you needed to go to the doctor?
That that I wasn't having faith in God to fix this.
Mm-hmm.
I feel stupid about it now.
I feel stupid about it now. That right. Okay, so your faith, which is probably some extremist, probably a Pentecostal religion or something, you think that God and Jesus, the Holy, the Holy Trinity, right? Well, I guess you're not Catholic, so you probably don't believe in that. But you believe in something, which is obviously some sort of like doomsday bunker religion that tells you that you can't have medical care because you don't believe in science. You believe that Jesus wants your children to die out of your own goddamn neglect. You know what? I don't know that I could be an interrogator. Not only do I not have a poker face, but I don't think I could play along with this kind. Like, I couldn't play along with this bullshit to try and like get her to open up and give me more, because I'd be so fucking pissed listening to her bullshit excuses for why she starved her kid to death. I don't think I could handle it, you guys.
So that's what we're trying to figure out. Do you think? And I'm not ridiculing this. I just want to know. Do you guys think that God doesn't want us to use doctors?
No.
So do you think God puts people in places to help us?
Yes, I do. I believe that for sure.
And you think doctors could be those people?
Yeah.
So, all still, I get what you're saying.
Do you?
But this is what I'm telling you. 2 days ago, I could have looked at this child and I could have said, this child has hours to live.
She might have not even survived 2 days ago.
2 days ago, I could have looked at this child and I probably would have thought this child has minutes to live. 2 days ago, if I'd have seen this child in your hands and a stranger at my ass snatch this child out of your hands and face the consequences. That's what I'm trying to reason with, is that.
And let me just point out again how thick this woman is. I mean, this woman is not lacking for food.
But you didn't receive the help, and you knew that 2 days ago. You just said that she was probably, beyond help or whatever it was 2 days ago.
Oh my God.
So what?
It's not beyond help.
At what point in this illness did you think there's a good chance she's gonna die?
I didn't think at all that she was going to die.
How could you not think that?
Delusional. I don't have a reason why I could think that. I was being such a hopeful mom. I suppose I don't have a good reason for you. I'm sorry.
What was your conversations like with Seth?
You said a minute ago that you knew that he didn't want to go to a doctor.
Yeah, because we discussed it before. That we just
discussed her conditions.
Yes.
When was the first time?
By the way, you're supposed to have like regular scheduled pediatrician visits when they're babies. Because there's an entire schedule for getting vaccinations. You can't get them all at once, right? That's too much for a baby to have all at once. And so you have to schedule them over time. So you have several visits, especially over the first year. This is video from when my son was pretty close to the same age as the child that we're talking about at this point. This is his baptism. He was, I think, roughly about 10 months old when we completed this ceremony. It didn't happen in 2016. That just happens to be like when I actually put it on social media. This happened in 95. Okay. We're there with his godparents. And I'm fairly certain he does come up in the video at some point. Let's see how this goes. That's me, by the way, in the flower dress.
Yes, until afterwards. Then she cried.
Afterwards, what happened?
When we went to the reception, then the picture we have, her mouth is open and she's screaming.
Well, this is a Sunday too. Yeah.
My baby.
On Sunday we celebrate the Paschal mystery.
That's my baby.
The day Jesus resurrected and came to life. And so it's a chance for us with Cody here. He will be receiving a very special life today. asked your child to be baptized, and in doing so, you are accepting the responsibility of training him in the practice of the faith. It will be your duty to bring him up to keep God's commandments as Christ taught us by loving God and our neighbor. Do you clearly understand what you are undertaking? Standing, are you ready to help Jennifer here, the mother of this child, in her duty as Christian? Cody David, the Christian community welcomes you with great joy. In His name, I claim you for Christ our Savior by the sign of His cross. I now trace the cross on your forehead and invite all your friends and your family to do the same.
That's what a healthy 10-month-old looks like, you guys. He still his hair hadn't even grown in all the way yet. He was still losing the baby hair that sometimes babies are born with hair that ultimately falls out. He was so cute. He looked like a little old man with a bald spot. But that happens sometimes, right? Like you're born with certain baby hair, it falls out, and then your real hair grows in. As you can see, I'm sitting there with my baby, and I do not look as fat as that chick. There she was porking it out and starving her own kids. But this is my baby. I know it's from the back, but this is the video that came up in my social media. It's not easy to always find the search terms for, how to find the footage back. But this is his baptism. He was about 10 months old.
Everyone take him around and everyone can cross this for him. It's a sign of welcome into the community.
Here we go.
They should keep it straight.
You know what's really, really sad is that that was 95. My two grandparents sitting there are now deceased. I can't tell if that's my dad or my uncle in that, and my uncle is now deceased as well. But this was a private ceremony because despite here's the thing. Yes, I am religious. I am Catholic. We had to have a private ceremony because my ex-husband, who I had already divorced at this time, refused to allow him to get baptized, despite the fact that he allowed his other children with I don't even think he married the second woman. I don't think he married her. He allowed her to baptize her children, though. He gave her permission. So we had to, I was married to him, y'all. And he wouldn't allow me to baptize my child, so we had to set up a secret ceremony. There are some people that are so fucking into themselves, they can do some real harm. And simple religious things like this are not as harmful as actually saying, I don't believe in science, and so therefore I'm not going to vaccinate my children. Or I'm going to use religion against you because I don't like the fact that you divorced me. All right, let's get back to the video.
Conditions?
Yes.
When was the first time you guys discussed that?
Maybe a month ago.
So a month ago is when. What did you notice a month ago? Because I'm certain you're the one. Because you said that Seth didn't want to go. So obviously you're the one that brought up needing to go to the doctor. What did you notice a month ago?
That she was almost 9 months old and just wasn't filling into her clothing like she should, and we talked about it, and like we do and keep nursing her and keep her active, and she'll get there. It's okay, she'll get there.
But let me ask you something. If Seth told you that God told him to sacrifice one of your children, would you do it?
No.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm trying to wrap my head around.
That fat bitch.
How many conversations did you have with Seth about this?
Not very many. Maybe two at most, just because we didn't want to worry about it. We trusted God. And
Would he get angry talking about it?
no, I think he'd be very stressed.
What would happen? How would he react if you took her to the doctor anyway?
She never
I'm
did.
not sure that something like that has never happened.
I'm just asking you to speculate.
I think he would just be concerned that CPS would be called, but not angry. Just saying, okay.
You know what? Okay. Most people in this type of scenario are already selfish, right? But look at that fat motherfucker sitting in the interrogation room waiting for his turn. He probably has high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and has no fucking clue of it because he's not getting regular physicals, because he's anti-science. You people who are not taking care of yourself, you want to die, whatever. Your problem. But don't you dare fucking bring children into this world and fucking neglect them because you don't think they should have vaccinations? Fuck's sake.
Just know that you took to the doctor, expect CPS to come to the house.
He's not an angry type person.
No.
Oh my
How,
God.
how, how is he as far as emotional goes?
He's not afraid to cry. I'll just say that.
Does he cry a lot? Would you say that he wears his emotions on his sleeve?
I suppose. I mean, when we were going through our marriage, the beginning of it, and he was very expressive about about his feelings and how he would like to be treated and how I wasn't, treating him well.
Oh yes, you're so sad.
And then, in return, told me he realized that he wasn't being a respectful husband and wasn't treating me well either. So he's very intuitive and expressive, which is rare, I suppose.
So, today at 9 o'clock, you found a deceased. What time were we called?
I don't know.
I think it was
11.
a long time. Why?
We called my in-laws first, and
The time that the sheriff's department was called to respond to your house was at 12:06.
Oh my
that's when
God.
they came, or that's when they were called.
That's when 911 was called.
That's when 911 was called. Was
3
12:06.
hours and 6 minutes later.
My father-in-law said to wait until they were close, because they live an hour away, to wait until they were close before we called them, so we can get there at the same time.
That would explain 1 hour. What about the other 2 hours and 6 minutes of waiting?
I think that we were in such a state of shock that we just didn't know what to do.
Well, let me ask you this. Did you ever look at
They redacted again.
how tiny and sunken and skeletal she looked and say, we're in trouble?
Yeah. I think actually it came across my mind today.
Did you guys have a discussion about it?
No.
Did he say anything to you about that?
No.
Did you
Why did it come across your mind? What were you thinking? Is that why it took so long to call 911? I've never worked a case that's taken that long to call 911.
So
This
crazy.
just never happened before. Or with anyone we knew, or we waited for a response from my father-in-law. Just
Hang on, I'm getting a food delivery. False alarm, it's not here yet.
what his advice was. We had no idea what to do. And he said, yes, we should call the police. We're on our way. Wait until we're close.
But even by your father-in-law, he wasn't even called until around approximately 10:30 to 10:45.
Wow.
So we're still looking at an hour and a half.
It may have been after 9 then, because that is a very long time, and it did not feel that long at all. It must have been just before 10 then. I'm sorry if I gave you the wrong time.
No. You're not expected to check your watch every time you go check something. We're not holding to all those times.
I know it was before 10, but it was definitely after 9. That is an excessively long time to just stand around there.
So all right, let's even just give the benefit of the doubt and say it's 10.
Okay.
That's 10 o'clock. So, because like you said, you know it was before 10, but we'll just play it safe and say it was 10.
Okay.
And so 10 o'clock rolls around, you check everything, you did CPR for about 10 minutes according to what you told. So then what'd you do for the next 2 hours? Because
we waited.
Yeah. Before you called us, you waited for 2 hours before we got called.
We waited for my in-laws to come. We were trying to contact them. And then we got a response.
Well, we were trying to contact them. Was that like a long process to get a hold of them?
I actually don't know. I'm sorry. Seth was the one that contacted them. I didn't.
Oh, I see.
So I don't know how long it took, if any time at all. I was just very distraught.
So you said you slept. What else? What other kind of house cleaning did you do? Because you said your mother-in-law doesn't like a dirty house.
The kids, just to distract them, I just had them clean their room, put your toys away, and
Did they know what was going on?
we told them, but I don't.
Oh, really? You told them that your daughter was dead? For what are you even talking about?
So then they cleaned their rooms, and then what did you and Seth do?
Slept, and then we hugged and cried, and we just sat on the couch and just were silent.
But there's just some odd thing. Obviously, you know this case is odd, and you never once expressed to Seth that, hey, this isn't good. Look at her.
No, I didn't.
Did he ever even make a comment about her body? You guys looked at her, and he never said anything about it. You know how he described her to us on the phone? I could even listen to the 911. He described her as, nope, she's dead as a doornail.
He gets like that when he's very, very upset. He's just distraught, and
The reason I have put the security camera from Seth's room.
Wait, hold up a second here. We're talking about a toddler male sibling saying that his sister is dead as a doornail. Where did he even get that expression?
Throughout this interrogation in the top left corner is because I think it's imperative that we see his reaction, the one where he thinks no one is watching and therefore will not matter. He has been walking around, going on his phone, laughing on a call with his lawyer. His callous demeanor on the 911 call and his lack of reaction here is not in line with a person who is trying to distance himself from what happened, or who is expressing his grief in an uncommon, inappropriate way. There is genuinely no evidence that he cares about what happened to his child, or is being adversely affected by this development. Tatiana trying to validate the behavior and say it's just his way of going through things is about as effective as saying she was a good, attentive mother.
I cry, and yeah, he cries, but he tries to be strong for everyone.
Let me ask you a question. You had been through some training or early childhood development schooling and stuff like that, correct?
Yes.
Did you ever receive or go through any kind of like CPR training or anything like that?
I have, yes.
Okay. Let me ask you this. If you were driving down the road, kid kids are in the back seat in their car seats and you're driving down the road and you witness a car accident, what are you going to do? And there's people that are bloody there at the scene. What are you going to do?
And my kids are with me in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if there's space for me to pull over, I'd pull over. I would check to see if anyone's responsive, and then I'd call the police so I can let them know what's going on. And if there's something I could do, I'd try it. But I know that if there's any sort of injury that I'm not familiar with, I can't move the body.
Okay, so you know that you can call 911, right?
Yes.
So then why not call 911 immediately when your child's not moving? That's what I don't understand.
I think because it happened to me personally, it was my little girl. I in shock. I'm sorry, I don't have an answer for you. I was just so never could imagine that could happen.
Jason and I,
Because she knew she was going to be in trouble, and she was trying to figure out some way to get out of it, like the woman who, her and her boyfriend killed their autistic son, the 5-year-old, and buried him in the backyard. They were looking for alternate scenarios. That's why they waited so long. They're like, is there a way that we can hide this? God damn. Oh my God, she's disgusting. These people are going straight to hell, you guys.
been doing this a long time, and I understand, and I've seen it time and time again. Everybody deals with stress and reacts to things differently. But if there's one thing that I've seen in the course of doing this job for a long time is there's usually never a hesitation to pick up the phone and call 911. That is a pretty ingrained, rapid, basic, life-saving response that is ingrained in everybody, especially in our country because of our emergency medical system that we have.
When did you first teach your kids about 911?
When did you
first teach your children about 911?
Have you taught them about 911?
Less than a year ago.
Okay. So when you're doing CPR, you don't scream to Seth, call 911.
No, and I know that that's like the second step, or the first step actually.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think by calling 911 that he would think your faith was less?
No, not at all. Actually,
Okay.
He called his dad first. Wiping the spit up from her face, and then he went to contact his parents. I don't know how long that took. I was just, after she wasn't responding, I was just sitting there rocking her. I don't know for how long. I have no idea for how long. And then after he got off the phone with his dad said, okay, wait until we are close. And then call the police so we can get there at the same time they do.
Why?
So we can help with anything, I suppose, legally.
So, the two...
They're trying to blame, she's trying to blame parents on this bullshit? She's trying to blame her parents on this, or his parents, on the fact that they didn't call 911. They did nothing for their daughter. They fucking sat on this bullshit. I have a feeling that the parents are going to be like, oh, no. Like, why would anybody want to take responsibility for delaying medical care?
Hours of time that went by from discovery till 911. All I know, and I'm just asking if you can think of anything else, all I know of is 10 minutes of CPR and sitting on the couch and sweeping the house. Is there any other activity that occurred? Again, some of the stuff is just so weird, we're just trying to make sense of it.
I understand. If I were in your position, I wouldn't understand it either, and I'm having trouble gauging it as well. I spent quite some time just holding her and just rocking her, and then I put her back down in her bed, and I put her blanket on her, and then I just checked on the kids, make sure they were clean in the room, and then...
did you put any additional clothing on her when you put her back in the crib?
No, I didn't.
So what was in the crib is exactly what was in there. You didn't change anything.
Oh, I'm sorry. By clothing, I just assumed you meant what she was wearing on her. that was left on her. I covered her up fully, and I added her little head blanket.
What do you mean you covered her fully? With clothing or a
with
blanket?
a gray blanket.
Okay.
Was that blanket in the crib prior or not?
Yes, up to her knees. I wrap it around her knees down to her feet just so there's no more chances over the head pulling, and she's never done that before anyway.
And what about this thing that you were talking about, the head pillow or whatever? Where was that
It
at?
was just a comfy blanket. It was on the side on the rocking chair. I just fudged.
So that's the only thing that wasn't in the crib? Was that one?
Yeah. And she had her polar bear in there. It was by her feet.
So, when you were going through school, Jason was talking about hitting on the CPR and stuff like that. Did you receive, what other kind of like developmental training did you receive getting your education in childhood development?
Physical.
Nutrition, all that? What else?
Meal plans. In terms of how much, that's why I should be eating, and I was happy with how much she was eating. She was eating so much. It's like, this is such a surprise to me. And is there an actual condition that prevents weight gain?
No.
Did you ever Google that?
No. Maybe. Or maybe I did and I didn't find anything. Because I would probably know. And if a doctor was...
You would have found a lot, I think, if you Googled it. I think you'd have found a lot on that.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that you realize too much on WebMD and Google as a parent instead of actually going to a doctor? It's just an opinion question. I'm just curious.
I do.
Because you've kind of brought that up a couple times, and I'm just wondering.
If I, replace it?
Well, yeah, I mean, do you kind of try to self-diagnose your children instead of taking them to a doctor? You just look it all up on WebMD and Google and try and figure it out yourself, or?
No, I do that more for myself. The only thing I actually feed whatever age she was at the time to help her gain more weight. And, potatoes, etc.
So when you were going through early childhood development education, was that to be a teacher or a preschool teacher or daycare owner, operator type? That's for, right?
Yeah, it was to be a preschool teacher.
So I know, I'm sure this was addressed. So what are some of the things they told you to look out for if you did have a student that came to school and had a failure to thrive type case?
Not eating.
What physical characteristics?
Thin bones,
Like sunken in cheeks,
ribs.
showing, thin arms.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see those things in your own child?
So when you went through this education and they told you to look out for that stuff, what was supposed to be your plan of action if you ever saw a child come to school like that?
It's called Child Protective Services.
Because you had a what to report?
Oh, sorry, guys.
You'd have a duty, right?
Yeah, exactly. What they're getting to right now is that as somebody who worked with children, she was a mandatory reporter. She was trained. I mean, even when I was going through my pregnancy, I took basic life-saving skills. I only got certified for 2 years, and I didn't renew it ultimately because I felt confident enough that if I called 911, they'd arrive. But what he's talking about is that she was responsible for other children too. She was a mandatory reporter, and there she was starving her own kids.
But you didn't help your child?
No, I thought I was helping her by feeding her and nursing her and playing with her.
But 2 to 4 days ago, you knew it was really bad. you knew it was really bad. And so that is what prompted you more than ever to be checking and looking to make sure she wiggles when you move a door, and because of how she looks.
I did it every day regardless.
You did?
That matters.
Okay, yeah, it does matter, absolutely.
Every night.
Nobody, Tatiana, for 1 second, I don't want you to think that anybody is trying to say that you didn't love your child.
No.
Okay? But I am going to be blatantly honest with you. You didn't provide the necessary care for your daughter. You didn't.
Do you think you did?
And we're just trying to figure out why.
Do you think you did right?
It's a very hard question to answer because she's dead. She'll know that I tried. I fed her so
What stopped you? Truly, what stopped you?
From what?
From getting her help a month ago. Was it embarrassment? Was it fear? Was it? What was it?
I think it was fear of CPS. I think that I just thought that I was overreacting, and it was just all in my head because I tend to overthink things when it's not necessary, and I just thought there was another one of those.
Really?
And our other two children are just so healthy, and
They
or
are?
am I delusional about that too? Like,
I don't know. I don't
as
know.
far as they appear, I mean, they.
What?
But here's the difference, though. You just said it right there. You just said it. As far as they appear. But we know that appeared healthy. So it's not a delusion. It's an observation that your other two children clearly appear healthy, right? Clearly didn't. That's comparing apples and oranges. So it shows that your observations were working. You weren't delusional. You know that these two appear healthy and this one didn't. So we need to go and get this one fixed. Figure out what's wrong with her.
We had more time for her to fill out.
Well, let me ask you this: Did you plan on having each of your children? No.
Oh, surprise!
We knew we were having unprotected sex, and we knew we were going to have a baby from it. We just weren't saying, okay, this day.
Like I said, all of you religious right assholes who keep telling everybody they need to have babies, this is what you get. This is what you get, is murderous parents who neglect their children to death.
We're going to make the child, and she will be born this day.
Right. But real.
Tasha, we have to step out real quick, though. Can we get you a water or anything? Well, we're just going to just slide over real quick and talk to Seth and just confirm some of the stuff.
I'm sure you guys.
He's sitting on ice right now, probably wondering what in the world's going on. So.
Do you need to use the restroom as well?
I suppose I should. It's been quite some time.
All right, just know we'll get you some water while you're using the bathroom. I'll walk you to the bathroom. I'll get you some water. Just know that we're going to be down. So as long as we've been in here with you, you're probably going to be sitting in here. We're going to be down there talking to him. So that way, at least you're not wondering what's going on. It's just we're talking to him, trying to get his side of this now. Okay?
Are we in trouble?
We don't know that. You guys are going home the same way you came. We told you that. You're not being arrested. All we're doing is we're just information gathering. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that, no, you're not in trouble, because I don't know that yet. This whole case has to still be reviewed. There's a whole process that has to go through. Hey, put her letter down real quick. We're going to get another detective in here to escort you down there real quick, okay? Just because it's a secured facility, Larry. All right.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. All right. We're gonna pause here for this is part 3, right? We are now halfway through the entire interrogation video, so I'm assuming that the interrogation with Seth is going to be even more compelling because they showed it in a certain order, and also the JCS commentator made a big point of saying there's a reason that I showed you this video of him sitting there waiting and how unconcerned he was. Now, you could make the argument that having stripes long ways makes her look bigger, but if you look back at that video, you can clearly see that she is not wearing the special bra that has pads that you change out when you are breastfeeding. This woman was not breastfeeding, and it's not going to be difficult for her to have, for them to conduct a medical examination on her and confirm whether or not she's lactating, which I highly doubt, because when she stood up from that chair, she had perky nipples, and you can't see that through the pads. The pads are thick, you guys. Anyway, this is part 3, and I'll come back to it.